Hey everybody, it's Mary Kay Andrews, and I'm here tonight with Friends in Fiction with my great pals. If I can see them, here's the order I see them in: Kristy Woodson Harvey,
Hey,
Patti Callahan Henry, Mary Alice Monroe, and Kristin Harmel. And we're here tonight to talk to you about books and friends and fiction, and also to do a shout out for Kristy because today is her pub day.
Happy book birthday.
Or feels like falling. So everybody out there, tell Kristy happy book day. Happy book birthday.
Yay, Kristy. Well, thank you so much, Mary Kay. I appreciate it. And I'm Kristy Woodson Harvey, and I'm going to be hosting tonight, which is really exciting. It's my first day hosting. And so if you have been here before, then you know a little bit about Friends in Fiction. But if you have not, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. So we decided that we would get together every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock for a limited time, but maybe moving forward too, because we're having so much fun, just to talk about books and writing and just, gossip a little bit with each other, all in the name of supporting independent bookstores. So each week we're going to choose a different independent bookstore to support, and we are so appreciative because you guys have rallied behind these independent bookstores so much, and we really appreciate it because they really need our love right now so desperately. So tonight we're going to be talking about one of my favorite bookstores, the Country Bookshop in Southern Pines, North Carolina.
It's a great store.
It's such a good store. I was actually born in Moore County where it is, so I feel a special attachment to them. But through Saturday, they're going to be featuring all of our new releases and giving everyone who orders 10% off with the code SUMMERFUN10. So that's very exciting. Now we're going to drop that code over on our page, which is Friends and Fiction on Facebook. If you have not followed us over there yet, make sure that you do, because we're dropping fun things in there every day. We're chatting over there. We're talking about contests and giveaways and what's going on in our lives. And we love just getting to be with you guys over there. So that's Friends in Fiction, like us. And then one person tonight who comments or who has commented or RSVP will win a $25 gift card to our bookstore of the week, which is the Country Bookshop. So yay, we're so excited to have you. So let's get started by just sort of catching up with everybody this week. This is my favorite part of the night. So obviously Feels Like Falling came out today, and normally this time I would have been on book tour, but Patti and Kristin have brand new paperbacks that just released, and Mary Kay and Mary Alice have new releases getting ready to come out. So I just wanted to ask you guys, what would a day in your life be looking like if we were in a normal world? Patti, you want to take it away?
I think I would be in Dallas right now. One of the saddest things I did when all this happened, and I know y'all remember, it happened slow. Like one thing got canceled. The first thing that got canceled for me was Tucson Book Festival. And then it kind of just happened one after the other, and then everything in one fell swoop. And there was a very sad day about 5 weeks ago where I just went through my calendar and hit delete, 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 because what I was doing every day, and it was making my family crazy. So I was saying, today I'd be in San Diego. Today I'd be in California. Today I'd be in Chicago. And I had to stop doing that. So I'm not positive where I'd be today, but it wouldn't be right here.
Here you are.
Marianne?
Yeah, I think, well, honestly, it's a couple of weeks. I'm May 19th, and this would be the getting your clothes ready, staying on your diet, trying to rev up, doing all the pre-interviews, staying on your diet, which is blown out of the water right now. Gaining weight, my elastic pants. Well, I know that Kristin and Kristy and I all share Magic Time Literary, who does our tours. And it's such a great tour this year. I was going to go everywhere and have so much big launch party at the aquarium. And just like Patti just said, cancel, 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 cancel. So the quiet is unnerving. Yeah. Even though we've got the virtual tours coming up, and I'm excited about connecting through that, it's the face-to-face when you sign a book and you say, thank you for coming, and you hear the personal story. I'm going to miss that. So I'm feeling a little pre-depression, a little bit like a longing. I know, Patti, you talked about that. And I was like, oh, it's okay. It's fine. And now that I'm in it, I know what you mean, Patti.
Yeah. It's an ache. Yeah.
It's an ache. It is like a sadness.
Yeah.
My tour for the book of or not the book of last names, The Winemaker's Wife, was just supposed to be wrapping up this past weekend, and today I was supposed to be in New York for a meeting talking about the book of last names, which comes out in July. So I feel not only this lack of book touring, but also all the people who we all the three of us work with in New York. I'm missing seeing them too. So to be honest, this is really helping me, like this weekly thing, just being able to see all of you every week, but then also going on our Friends in Fiction group and seeing all the questions from people and all the interaction and people talking about having met us in the past. It's just reminding me.
Exactly. Putting your pictures in. Yeah, you guys put your pictures in this week of when you met us in the past. We need them.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
It is. But it reminds me there's this whole world out there again when this is all over, right? Like this is just a moment in time and we're going to get past it.
What about you, Mary Kay?
I'd be having Botox today.
And staying on your diet.
Yeah, I might be. Well, in years past, I would have been getting my eyelash extensions, but then I developed eyelash poisoning a couple years ago and had to go to the ER.
That's right.
Oh no.
So yeah, tragic eyelash poisoning, death by eyelash. So
I mean, it's not funny, but I'm just never heard of eyelash. I'm sorry, but I mean, who knew
really?
That was a thing?
Although I missed the extensions. They're pretty.
The ER doc, it was a young ER doc at Emory who was very sensitive and very warm and said, why would you do that? Why would you glue eyelashes to your eyelashes? And
You're like, you don't understand the pressures of book tour.
I wanted to say to him, why do guys take dick pics? I don't know.
Who knows? I do it so that I can save 5 minutes in the morning. I don't know.
You know why I do it is so that I don't have to have the dark circles from your mascara. No matter how carefully you take off the eye makeup, you've always got the raccoon in the morning. So it eliminates that.
Yeah, beauty's pain.
Yeah.
Beauty's pain.
Yes.
Well,
but I had no idea. An eyelash infection? I didn't even know that was a thing.
No, I had a reaction to the adhesive.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
Well, I was actually thinking about finally wearing a pair of fake eyelashes for the first time, but you've effectively talked me out of that. So
Oh, I love them. Listen,
which is a great segue into our next topic.
Okay. Now that our secrets are
Our
revealed.
bookstore of the week.
Flashes to bookstore.
Where we would have been wearing our fake eyelashes.
and
So if you're just
And
popping
our
in,
new dresses.
yes, exactly. So if you're just popping in, I just wanted to remind you that our bookstore of the week is the Country Bookshop, and they're going to be offering 10% off to everyone who orders between now and Saturday. And I did want to tell you too, to go ahead and submit your questions, because we're gonna be answering some questions live in just a little bit. So if you have a question for us, go ahead and submit it. And I also wanted to tell you about a super special incentive that we have going on that I'm so excited about. So our friend Kristen's 2018 novel, The Room on Rue Amelie, is $2.99 on Kindle this week.
Woo.
So that's
I love
very exciting.
That.
I love that book too. And I was going to say, the funny thing about that book is I didn't even know Kristin, and I was filming promo videos, like my first, maybe my second set of promo videos at Simon & Schuster, and they asked me to recommend a summer read, and I recommended The Room on Rue Amelie. And now here we are. And so Kristin has been so generous. The first 25 people that place an order at the Country Bookshop and use our Summer Fun 10 code for their order, just send us an email at friendsandfiction@gmail.com of your receipt, and then
Friends and Fiction authors.
Friends and Fiction authors. Sorry, we'll drop this in the group.
Yeah, we'll put it in the Friends and Fiction group.
Friends and Fiction authors at gmail.com. We'll get a free e-copy of The Room on Rue Amelie. So
Oh, nice.
exciting.
Wait.
Yay! I know.
We're kicking this up every week, girls. This is
I know,
pretty
exactly. We're
Great.
gonna be giving
What's
away-
next week? We have to rev it up.
It's buy one, get one free. It's incredible. We're basically giving the books away, you guys. So support your local bookstore, support your favorite authors, which are obviously us, and it's all going to be great. And Kristen's going to get a freebie.
Hey, Kristy, may I just point out, you're basically Oprah right now. Like, I'm just gonna give away things. I like
You
it.
get a book, and you get a book, you get a $25 gift card, and it's great.
3 cars. No, never mind.
Not. It's too far. Free eyelashes because I just bought a pair.
And now you're not going to wear them.
Not gonna wear them now. They were called the 9 to 5, like they're like work eyelash, so that I could tease in a little bit.
Ooh.
Okay.
I
So
know,
on to Q&A that is not eyelash related. Mary Alice, I have a question for you. And these first few questions, you guys, are coming from our Friends in Fiction Facebook group. So if you have a question that you want to ask, if you have a question specifically for one of us, go in there, ask it, and we are picking several to answer every week. And we love seeing your questions, so it's great. So Mary
we try
Alice,
to go in and answer some of them.
Yep, do.
we jump in. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. So Jennifer Sane wants to know, what does a typical day look like for you?
Well, nothing's typical right now.
Right, of course.
It depends for me where in my writing cycle I am, so to speak. If I'm doing the research, I get up at dawn and I'm working with animals, and turtle season's about to begin. Patti, hurry up. Come on up. So I'll be getting up early to work with the turtles. But ordinarily during the research period, I do the animal work and then I pull my ideas together in the afternoon. But once I begin writing, a typical day for me is I never not show up by 9 o'clock in the morning. It's like I have to be at the desk. Mary Alice Monroe is my boss and she can be a really nasty woman. So I have to show up at the desk. And then I start working so many pages a day. Not so great. It's like chiseling. And then after that, once I get in it, I work 24/7. So it's crazy. Towards the end, it's what I call projectile writing. And it comes out. And until that draft is done, that shitty first draft.
Yeah.
But when I do editing, it's 9 to 5.
How many pages or words a day are you writing? I'm just curious because
Well, like 3 to 5 now. I am writing right now, but when I am really in it, I can go up to 20 a day.
No, are you serious? 20 pages a
Yeah,
day?
but 20 for my work, sometimes all night. I mean, I just don't stop, and I don't
See, I don't
stop.
have that in me. My brain doesn't function like that.
It dribbles out my ear by the end. I'm not the same
Down
person.
at some point. Yeah.
I can do that. I'm on Mary Alice's team. Like I can, because I get like a second wind and a third wind, so I can like restart at like 11 p.m. and like go for hours. I don't
Yeah.
like to. It's not good for you, but I can.
Gosh, I'm brain dead after about 4 o'clock, as you can all probably
You have a
tell
small
from
child.
watching me in the-
Well, like now I'm brain dead. I mean, honestly, I'm not in the intense writing period, but I can only do that for a condensed amount
Yeah,
of
that
time.
makes sense.
Yeah.
And after that, most of my year's not like that. It's just for, I would say, 2 to 3 months max.
Yeah. All right,
And
so
it's brutal.
Patti, oh, sorry, Mary Alice. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Zoom has like a little tiny bit of a delay, so I did not mean to interrupt you. But Patti, Melissa Sharpless wants to know, who is your favorite character you've ever written and why?
So most of my characters are completely imagined. My first 14 books were characters I completely imagined. But my last novel was about a real woman. Her name is Joy Davidman. She was C.S. Lewis's wife. And I have to say that she's probably my favorite, only because she was so alive and so real that she was endlessly fascinating and still is to me. As far as a completely imagined character, it would probably be the woman. I mean, don't you all feel like that you always love the book you're working on or just finished working on the most?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, because I love all of my characters. I mean, I love Amy in Losing the Moon, and I can go through each book and tell you what I love.
I love Amy and Losing the Moon.
Amy and Nick.
too.
Sometimes I get these hashtags that are like Amy and Nick forever. And it makes me laugh. But I think that the imagined character I love the most is the one that I'm working on now that's in the book that comes out next year. The book is called Surviving Savannah, and it's a historical. And the one character I love the most in that book is the imagined character. She's the only one who wasn't real. And I have worked with her for so long, and she was so difficult to get to know that now I feel a real bond with her. But we love our characters in a way, I think, like our children, for different reasons at different times. Yeah. And I once heard someone say that the kid we love the most is usually the one who needs us the most at that time. So I think that that's a little bit what it's like with our books. The character we're focused on, or talking about, or lecturing about, or trying to imagine at the moment. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
True.
And I totally agree. All right, Kristin, Deborah Merle Blanchard wants to know, what is your writing process like? And that's a little bit like Mary Alice's, sorry, but it's a little different.
What's my writing process like? So good question. I outline first. I outline very extensively. I mean, super extensively. My agent and my editor, I think I'm a complete crazy person. I am, it's true. After I have that outline done, that's kind of where I work out all the hard stuff. That's the pouring my heart on the page. And then when I begin the chapters, the shitty draft, like Mary Alice said, it's
and Lamont, I'm going to give her credit.
but that's kind of more where I'm putting the language together and I'm fleshing out these characters that I only know the skeleton of. So at the beginning of the book, kind of like Mary Alice was saying, I'm a little bit slower. I'm writing fewer words a day because I'm just kind of finding my way into the story. And I find myself doubting a lot of what I'm doing, kind of going back, fixing stuff, saying this slight path isn't working. But then when I hit about the 40% mark in the book, I usually fly through it until there's always one stopping point at about the 70% mark where I think, I'm terrible, this book is awful, I can't do this. And then I agonize for a couple days, it all clicks into place, and it's like a race to the finish. And then I have a really crappy first draft that I have to edit. But that's how it works for me.
But that's good. I mean, that's your craft, right? That's when you bring in all that stuff you learned.
It's good to have a process.
Outlines that dramatically. Who else does it like?
Good question.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah, I'm a structuralist.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Pantser.
No, I am a total pantser, absolutely.
Pantser, by the way, means by the seat of your pants. You write by the seat of your pants.
Yeah. So we get that clear.
Yeah.
So Mary Kay,
That's some kind of club that Kathy's in. It's
better than like writing with your pants off or something.
right, exactly. Which
Work
we're
on
all
the top,
doing right now.
Answer on the bottom.
Well,
club of Kathy.
yeah, I call myself a plotzer, which means I plot longhand, and then I write by the seat of my pants. So I'm sort of a hybrid.
Yeah, but that's definitely, you know where you're going because you're writing a lot of mystery in your
A lot of the
stories,
time
right,
I don't know
Kathy?
where I'm going.
Ah.
I'm flying blind a lot of the time.
So then those of you who are pantsters, do you wind up is your editing process, do you think maybe heavier? Because you're trying to fit pieces together at the end?
Yeah, I do. I had a friend who said, Ariel Lawhon, the author Ariel Lawhon, said to me one time, we were talking about, she's like you, she is a complete outliner. And I outline more than I used to because I'm writing historicals now. But I don't outline as in depth as she does. And she said, I figure the pain's on the front end or the back end. I was like, yeah.
That's true.
Because when I'm done pantsing and plotsing, I have to then outline and figure it out. So yeah, the paint comes in the front or the back. You get to decide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always have a lot of timeline issues that I have to work out, and it's
I hate that word.
But I can't
Timeline.
that's just how I can't write it another way. Like I was the kid in school that would like write the paper and then write the outline. Like it's just how my brain functions. So I don't know. All right. Well, Mary Kay,
can I just ask, does everybody have a hard time with timelines? They come back to haunt you when you revise.
Yep.
Oh, timeline.
He needs to talk about timeline. Talk us about that.
My husband is an engineer, so he has a very unique way of looking at the world. And a few years ago, I was writing a book called Save the Date, and it's about a wedding florist. So every weekend,
I
my
love that book.
character, thank you, my character every weekend is doing weddings. And I got into I was in such a horrible mess. So he had to take the novel and literally deconstruct it. And he did an autopsy on it. And he looked at me one night and he said, well, here's the problem. You have 5 weeks in the month.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Sounds like something I do.
Yeah, me
It's like-
too, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Mary Kay, Barbara Wojcik wants to know, who is your favorite author of all time? Present company excluded, not to put you on the spot.
Obviously.
Well, from the time I was a young girl, teenager, I loved Gothics. Those dark and stormy night novels with the governess. And so I was a big Daphne du Maurier fan, Rebecca.
Yeah.
Good book.
And I'll tell you, Rebecca does not fare well when you go back and read it as a grown woman, because Rebecca is such a spineless. I mean, first of all, Rebecca is not the name of the narrator of the book. She's never given a name. You never know her name. And she just does whatever Maxim de Winter tells her to do. But I love that book. I love the setting, the Cornwall, the coast, the mystery inside of an enigma. And I actually went on and read quite a bit of Daphne du Maurier, so she's a favorite. But contemporary, I'm a huge fan of Eleanor Lipman. I love her books. They're very different from mine, but she writes, her humor is very dry. But I love her books, and The Family Man is my favorite of hers.
I'm writing that down.
Well, we're going to open it up for our live questions, and this is kind of fun. Our bookseller of the week, the Country Bookshop, has a question for us, so we're going to answer that.
Hey.
I know. So they want to know, what's the first independent bookstore that you fell in love with?
Well, that's easy for me. It was Anderson's book in Naperville. Actually, it was the one in Des Plaines area, but the same chain. And I was nobody, and they treated me like a queen. I walked in, they had flowers, and they, made me, for the 3 people that actually showed up, it was such an honor. And it was my first book signing, and it was just so great. So thank you.
Patti?
So when my first book came out, I didn't know there was such a thing. This is 2004. I didn't know there was really such a thing as book tour. And this bookstore in South Carolina called Litchfield Books asked me to come speak at a luncheon. And I have not missed speaking on the Friday my book comes out at Litchfield Bookstore since 2004.
Me neither. That's Litchfield. That's Vicky Crafton. Yeah.
It was the first time that I started to understand. It was the first store that I fell in love with as an independent, that I understood their importance. So definitely, yeah, that's a great memory. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Mary Kay, what about you?
When I started, my first book came out under my real name, which is Kathy Hogan Trocek, in 1992. That's what an ancient crone I am. But I belonged, and I was writing mystery, and I belonged to an organization called Sisters in Crime, and they had a pamphlet they gave everybody, and it was called Shameless Self-Promotion for Brazen Hussies. And it was a handbook. It was a handbook about, and it was great advice. And it said, 3 months before your book comes out, write notes. And here is a list of all the bookstores in the country, independent bookstores that sell mystery books. So I, like a good Catholic girl, I wrote notes to all those bookstores. And I got a note back from one bookstore, Murder by the Book in Houston, Texas.
Love that story.
And Dean James,
Here today.
yeah, Dean James, who became a friend later, he worked at the store, and he's actually he writes cozy mysteries. He wrote me a note back, and he said, we love Every Crooked Nanny. We're going to ask for you to have you on tour. And that, I still have that note pinned to my bulletin board, and that note meant so much to me. It meant an indie bookstore read my book, and they're going to sell it. They like it, and they're going to sell it. And so I haven't been able to go back every year, but in the past few years, I've gone back. I go to dinner with Tex-Mex and drink margaritas with the bookstore crew. I know the bookstore dog. And so that's the kind of relationship that you want to have with booksellers. And I've been so fortunate to have that same with you all. A lot of us have the same love affairs with the same stores.
Sure. Kristen?
To go to a bookstore and have a margarita and go out with friends sounds like a dream.
I was actually supposed to be at Murder by the Book today. I was going to be in Houston. I had like 4 events back to back in Houston today. So it's funny that you said that. I love them. They're amazing. Kristen?
My first bookstore I fell in love with was way before I was an author. And Mary Kay, you might remember this store too. Do you remember Haslams?
It's still there.
Yeah, yes, but I mean, you remember it from living in St. Pete also.
Oh yeah, I used to go home and have a signing there, and my mom and my mother-in-law would make all this food.
Oh wow, nice. You know, for me, so Haslams is primarily a used bookstore. They do new books too, I think, but it has a lot of used books. It's in St. Pete, Florida. And I think I might have gone there for the first time when I was 10, 11, something like that. You know, at a time when I didn't really have my own money except a tiny bit of allowance. And it was the thing that turned me from a reader into a book buyer, because I could afford to buy the used books, and I could take them home and they were mine. And just walking into that store, looking around at all of the books and thinking like, I could bring any of you home with me. It was just, it was, I think, the first time I experienced the magic of a bookstore.
So what did you bring home?
Oh my gosh, I don't remember. If I could, that would be such a better story.
Oh, that's so awesome. I feel like my first bookstore I fell in love with was Bookmasters in Salisbury, and it's not there anymore, which is kind of sad. But I love hearing all of these. And I actually found out that I was getting my first book deal at Simon & Schuster Gallery when I was at Litchfield Books, which is kind of fun.
Oh.
But the Country Bookshop, Kimberly, I was doing a signing there. My second book, Lies and Other Acts of Love, and she has this table and it has all these signatures on it. And I was sitting there and she was like, I only let New York Times bestsellers sign this table, but I know you're going to make it, so I want you to sign it now. And it like meant more to me than anything ever has my whole life. And that's one of the reasons they're my favorite bookstore, and they're a featured shop tonight. So okay, and our second question is coming from Kristy Barrett. Y'all know Kristy. She runs the amazing novel.
Hey, Kristy.
Yes. Okay.
Love you.
And her precious voice, she says, okay, lovelies, what are your works in progress that will have me buzzing well into next year?
Oh, buzzing, the honey, yeah.
The Honey Hive.
Honey hive, yes.
So Mary Kay, you want to start off with that one?
My book in progress is very embryonic at this point.
Oh, okay. Great word.
That is.
Yeah, it has a heartbeat, but it doesn't have a lot of structure. It starts with a young woman who pulls into a mom and pop motel on the Florida Gulf Coast shortly before sunrise, and she's got a 4-year-old little girl asleep in the back seat, and she's a stranger in a strange land, and she's got a magazine clipping about this motel, and she's fled New York because there's been some trauma, and she's found this clipping, and she gets in the car and drives all night with this little 4-year-old in the back seat, and that's the premise.
I'm hooked.
Love the opening.
Love it.
Yeah.
Kristen, you want to tell us about yours?
Sure. Mine will be out, I think, summer 2021. So I'm just beginning work on it. In fact, I've finished my Crazy Person outline, and I've written chapter 1 and part of chapter 2, and hopefully we'll be through chapter 3 in the next week or so. The only way I'm just going to tell you how I pitched it to my agent. So think what you will. It is Where the Crawdads Sing meets Rapunzel meets Defiance.
Awesome.
Defiance.
That's pretty broad.
but when I start talking about it for real, you'll understand. It is all those things. It's basically about, it's World War II again, because I love writing about World War II, but instead of being in France, several of my World War II books have been in France. This one is in the forests of Eastern Europe. So it's about a woman who was raised in the woods by a crazy old lady. And that intersects with a group of, her life intersects with that of a group of Jewish refugees fleeing, and she has no idea what's going on in the outside world. And so it's how these two worlds overlap, and then kind of how they help each other.
Sounds awesome.
Patty, what about
It'll
you?
be beautiful.
I keep forgetting I'm not just watching. I'm like,
Right, I know, me too. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm the worst timekeeper in the world. We're like 10 minutes over already. I'm never going to be allowed to host
Patty.
again.
I'm like, what?
What do you mean?
What I'm working on now, I am rounding out, finishing, doing like the piddly stuff we do at the end, copy edits, things like that for my book that comes out in March of 2021. In fact, today they asked me to write the Dear Reader for the advanced reader copy. And I was like, this is so fun. Because now I'm talking about it as a book instead of as an idea. And that's this great transition when we stop saying, this is what I'm trying to figure out. And we're like, okay, this is how I would talk about it. So it is a historical fiction set in a dual timeline. And it is the story of the sinking of a ship they called the Southern Titanic. It's called the Pulaski. Sank in 1838 with all the elite, they called them the flowers of the South, of Savannah and Charleston. And about 2.5 years ago, they found that ship 30 miles off the coast of Wilmington, North Carolina, 100 feet deep. And so I have a modern day museum curator who is working with the exhibits and with the artifacts. And then we hear from 2 of the women on the ship. It is very much about fate and destiny and survival and how we survive the surviving. And we follow one family that got on the ship together, a family of 11. The father, the mother, 6 children, the niece and the sister. And we found out what happened to all of them.
That sounds awesome.
That sounds amazing. I can't wait.
Yeah.
All right, Mary Alice, what about you?
I'm sort of, I have a foot, which is unusual for me to have a foot in 2 different camps at the same time. But I just got a few edits back for my middle grade book. It's my very first, and I'm very excited. It's The Islanders, and it's coming out in 2021. And so just had to shorten, the kids have shorter attention spans.
Yeah.
So I had to shorten up the beginning a little bit, which is, I didn't, you hate to when you think it's done to go back, but I did. So I'm just finished that. But I'm beginning a new book. So the hashtag am writing. And it's because of what's going on right now. I am very intrigued by what's going on in families right now, the tumultuous changes, the good and the bad. And so the Rutledge family from the Beach House series just seems to be right now the perfect family to deal. They go through so many ups and downs. And I was going to do the Next Generation anyway. Star Trek, The Next Generation. We have to come up with a better title. I'm counting on all of you. But it's The Next Generation, but it's also at the end of On Ocean Boulevard, everyone is set up where people in San Francisco, people in England, people in, of course, Isle of Palms and Sullivan's, and bringing them all together during this time that we're experiencing right now. It's not going to be about coronavirus, but it's going to be about how families come together in adversity. That's a topic I like to deal with anyway, and it just feels so right for me to do this now. But unfortunately, as much as I'm writing, I have to live through this summer.
Yeah.
To know how it's going to end.
Sure. Yeah,
That's
of
awesome.
course. That sounds awesome, though. Well, I just am working on line edits for Under the Southern Sky, which is my 2021 book. I'm so excited about it. I've been thinking about it for like 5 years. I don't even know how to talk about it yet, which is crazy because I've already written it. But essentially, a man whose wife dies 3 years earlier finds out that the embryos they had frozen before she passed away, he has to make a decision about what to do with them. And so it's my first male protagonist. I also have 3 female protagonists, so he's not alone in this. But that's kind of like the impetus for the story. And every one of the characters in the story has a big secret that has nothing to do with the embryos, but that ultimately leads to the decision about what will happen to them. So I'm excited.
Very timely, very timely.
Yeah, well, and like I said, I've been thinking about it for a long, long time, but it was like just sort of, I think the right idea kind of hit me, and it would just sort of wrote itself from there. It was great. I think sometimes that happens, and that's really fun.
Yeah.
And I just say, I think all of us should go and together and write it like Scotland and research it and be together instead of book in
That'd
Scotland.
be so fun. Well, I mean, that can be a part of our Friends in Fiction live tour.
I think we
Planning in my head.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Research.
I think we
And
should get like a Partridge Family bus with our.
Have
we
it.
can live on a castle. I insist on a
There you
castle.
go.
I'm all
Have a
there.
castle. I'm not going. I'm
No,
gonna have
I'll
a
like
send
castle.
a book. Readers, I'm asking all the readers, would you read our book if we said it in
Yeah,
Scotland?
respond. Let us know. Our
There you
Scotland-
go. Hey, we could write
Get
one
enough
together.
yeses, we'll go.
Exactly.
I want to just I just want to remind everybody about what's coming up for all of us. So Mary Kay Andrews' new book, Hello Summer, is out May 5th. Mary Alice's On Ocean Boulevard is out May 19th. Kristin has the Book of Lost Names that's coming out on July 21st. And Patti has a new book coming out that she just told you about. But right now, she just released the expanded edition of Becoming Mrs. Lewis. So great. You have to read it. So that's really exciting. And then I had Feels Like Falling come out today.
Yes, you have to tell us about it, Kristy. I'm so excited to hear you talk about it. I've been waiting.
I'll give you like a 2-second elevator speech because I've already gone on too long. But
No. We want to hear all about it. This is your week. Tell us all about it.
Have a week. You get to talk for as long as you want.
Okay, good. So Feels Like Falling is about Gray and Diana, who are two women from very different worlds who meet when they are both having arguably one of the worst days of their lives. And so on a day when Diana could really use a little good luck and Gray could really use a little good karma, Gray inadvertently gets Diana fired from her job, which is very bad. But it ends up sort of thrusting these two women together in this unusual circumstance. And they end up forming this friendship, and they end up realizing that even though they seem very different, they have so much in common. And they're also sort of the person that each other needs at that moment in time. Gray is going through a divorce and she's just lost her mother, and she kind of needs someone to take care of her. And Diana has grown up in foster care, and she's just a caregiver. She's just someone that she knows how to take care of people, and she knows how to take care of herself. And Diana has this big dream to open a business. And even though Gray is not good at a lot of domestic pursuits, she is a very good businesswoman. And so these two women kind of come into each other's lives at a time when they really need each other. And they also have a really great love story, not together. They each have a really great love story. Diana has a man from the past that sort of comes back. And Gray has a lot of different options. You'll just have to wait and see what happens with her. But they really help each other move into what I like to call Happily Ever After, the sequel. So I'm really excited for this book to come out. And I think it's a good book for right now because it's about, how we bounce back from adversity and what happens when everything kind of falls apart and we sort of have to start over again. And I think we're all a little bit in that situation now. We're trying to figure out what's the next step and what does life look like after this. So it's a happy book. It's an optimistic book. And I hope that you'll read it. I hope you'll buy it from the country bookshop or your favorite local independent bookstore, and that you'll love it as much as I loved writing it. So every week, we're giving you some fun tips and talking about great things. And so our brilliant Patti is going to give you an amazing writing tip this week so that you can be just as talented as she is by next week.
I'll go find the brilliant
next
Patti, and I'll be right back with her. So when I was thinking about what to talk about as far as a writing tip, I was thinking about when I get stuck, right? So when I get stuck in a piece of work, or when I feel like I'm spinning my wheels and everything's ending up in the ditch and I just need to completely stop, I need to stop driving 100 miles an hour in the wrong direction. Can I get an amen?
Amen, sister.
Amen.
Yeah. The more you panic, the faster you drive, and you're just driving 100 miles an hour in the wrong direction. And when that starts to happen and I start to feel like I've lost my way, but I'm going too fast, is I stop and ask myself a few questions. And there's loads of ways to get into a story and to answer those questions. But for me, one of the things that I stop and ask is, what does my character want? Like really want. Yeah, like really want. A vague want leads to a vague story. And the less I know about my character and what she wants, the more vague and meandering I'm going to be. And so I can't just say, oh, my character wants to be loved, because don't we all, right? The story comes with the specificity. There you go, specificity. So, for example, with Mrs. Lewis, not only does she want to be loved, but I have to kept having to go back to the touch point. So I want to imagine it. My character wants C.S. Lewis to stand in front of her and confess his love. She wants him to take her in his arms and use the prowess of his language that he uses in all his stories and all his books and express his love to her. Will she get this? Maybe. But the story is really about what happens along the way and the obstacles she meets. So I don't only have to know what she wants, but what's keeping her from getting what she wants. Not just externally, because that's all plot, but internally. What is keeping her from getting everything she wants? What belief does she have? What misbelief does she have? And listen, our characters don't always get what they want, right? Like the Rolling Stones, maybe.
Yeah.
They just might find they got what they need. But we still have to know what they want. And when I get lost, I just have to go back and get more and more specific and visual about what they want. That's my little tip.
That's a great tip. In fact, one of my notes on Under the Southern Sky for my editor was, but what does Amelia really want? So there you go. That sums it up. All right, Kristin, do you want to tell us about another bookstore that you love?
I do, and I'm so excited to tell you about it. But first, I have to say something about your book and this group. Okay, this is the beginning of summer, you guys, right? Like maybe people are going to the beach walking, but for the most part, none of us are at the beach right now, and we probably wish we could be, right? Like, you guys, this is your beach. Start with Kristy, move to Mary Kay, move to Mary Alice. This is your beach vacation. May, done. Okay.
Yay! I like the way you're going with that. Thank you.
I just have to say that. But you have to start with Kristy. That's the beginning of the beach season.
Got you covered out there.
So this week I want to tell you about a bookstore called Book and Bottle, which is in St. Pete, Florida, which is where I grew up and also where Mary Kay grew up. So Book and Bottle absolutely has my heart. Let me tell you why. First of all, I'm going to post a link to their website in the Friends and Fiction Facebook group. This store is one of the prettiest places I've ever seen. Second, and much more important, Book and Bottle opened their doors for the very first time the week of March 16th. Remember March 16th? That was the week that businesses were being told to shut down. So after years of working to start this business, which had always been a dream of hers, the owner, Tara Dunham, was forced to close up after just a few days. It has absolutely broken my heart. You guys, what she has done is amazing. She's new at this, but she has completely found a way to thrive. So if you live in Tampa Bay, she will not only deliver books to you, but bottles of wine too. Her store is Books and Bottles. It sells books and wine, and she is training to be a master sommelier, so she knows her wine. So that already makes her my favorite person. But on top of that, she's constantly updating her site with book and wine pairings. She started an active book club, and she's doing everything she can think of to help the community. So she's just amazing. So if you want to order a book, she's a great place to order from. Just if you're looking at different independent bookstores to support, she'll get books to you quickly. She's a great person. She has this dream, and I just want to see her succeed because it's just everything's right except for the timing. So Book and Bottle St. Pete, I'll put the link on.
Heartbreaking.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
so good. I signed book plates for her today, actually. I think I'm having an online event with her. I have to go to my...
Oh, I hope you are. She's so great. She's just the nicest person.
I was supposed to be there on real tour, so hopefully we're having an online event, I think. Okay, Mary Alice, can you tell us about a book that you're currently reading and enjoying? Hopefully.
It's odd. This is a fun time to read because we're all home, and I love when people say I'm reading so much right now. And so I'm sort of in that direction, except because I'm writing, as we talked about, I try not to read too much fiction. I finished what Mary Kay Andrews talked about, the book of Lost Friends by Lisa Ringgold, which I really loved. And I finished yours, Kristy, which I really loved.
Oh,
and
thank you.
I'm diving into Hello Summer by Mary Kay Andrews. And it's so much fun. And again, like Patti said, to know where you were, Mary Kay, when you were writing the book and seeing you in your jammies at Patti's house and writing. It is fun, like you said, Patti, last week, to see the book actually coming together. And then in another direction, I'm reading a really, really old book, 3 O'Clock Dinner by, is it Elizabeth Pinckney? Pinckney. Oh gosh, I'm blanking on her last name. It was written in the 1940s about Charleston. And I'm reading it for backdrop for the book I'm writing now. And I swear to God, you read a book that was written in the 1940s and it still holds today. That's a good book.
That's
So
a good
for
book.
all those who love Charleston, 3 o'clock dinner is great. But first read Feels Like Falling and Hello Summer. Those are great books.
All right, now Mary Kay, what about, do you have a debut author that you want to give a little shout out to?
Yeah, it debuted in 2019, but it should be out in paperback pretty soon. And it's I think it was one of my favorite books of last year, and so I'm so impressed that it was a debut novel. Evie Drake Starts Over.
Oh yeah.
I loved that book. It's set in a small town in Maine with a young woman. She's a recent widow, and the world thinks that she's a grieving widow, but that's not really the case. And her best friend in the town just persuades her to take in a boarder. He's convinced that she's lonely and that she's troubled, and he thinks she's broke, and so he talks her into taking in this boarder. And the boarder is a professional baseball player who's burned out. So you've got Evie, who's and her father is a local lobsterman, and then this hot pro baseball player burned out. It's so
What could
good.
go wrong?
It's
I've written down so many books tonight. That's
I was thinking about this today. What I love about this story, it's a rom-com, and I love a good rom-com, not a cheesy rom-com. The world is full of cheesy rom-coms. This one has a great slow burn romance.
By the way, I beg your pardon, it's Josephine Pinckney. I hate it when I can't remember and give an author her due. Josephine Pinckney. Sorry. What was the title of that book again?
It's
Mary
called
Kay?
Evie Drake Starts Over, and we'll put that on the page too with
All
the
right.
buy
Thank you.
link.
Yeah.
I just love it. I think maybe there's a movie deal. I don't know. I hate her for that, and I don't know why I'm recommending her book if she's got a movie deal.
But I have to say, we'll all be, let me remind everybody to come to the Friends and Fiction group. It's on Facebook, and we will answer your questions and put all this information for you.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we just want to thank you all so much for coming. And the winner of our $25 gift card tonight is Barbara Wojcik. So congratulations, Barbara. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name correctly, but I think I am. It's Wojcik. So we will reach out to you and let you know. Hopefully you're listening and you're here and you're excited. So yay.
Yeah.
But thank you to everybody who is here tonight, and keep coming back. And I also just want to remind everybody to support our local bookstore, the Country Bookshop. They are offering 10% off of any of our new releases with the code SummerFun10. And then Kristin Harmel is going to be giving away a copy of Room on Rue Amelie, an e-copy, to the first 25 people that place an order at Country Bookshop. And all you have to do to enter is just send your receipt to friendsandfictionauthors@gmail.com, and you will get your free copy. And we would all really appreciate your support, and we love it when you order our books and when you pre-order our next one. So it's fantastic.
Can I interject just one little thing, that this is a big time for all of us, all 5 of us. So I'm encouraging everyone out there to go to our individual Facebook pages. And a lot of us are giving prizes and gifts as our books come out. And it's a fun way to participate with authors you either already love or you're interested in today. All of us are having the countdowns, big books, surprises. So see what you can win. Enjoy the talk, enjoy the banter.
And I'm having a virtual book launch this Sunday for Hello Summer. Yep, Hello Summer virtual book launch with my favorite Savannah bookseller, E. Shaver Booksellers. And so you can find out that on my page and on the Friends and Fiction and all over the place.
Congratulations.
And that's this coming Sunday, like in 3 days.
Yes, that's
awesome.
yeah. Oh my
I'm
God.
glad you announced it.
I got to get Botox.
Don't be in the phone.
Diffuse the light.
That's going to be essential, but
Not sure that essential. Oh, she's in Georgia. She can do anything.
that's right. Oh, you're free and clear.
I
Yeah.
know. I'm going to go bowling and get a tattoo.
Yeah. Why not?
Isn't that
Why
that's
not?
just crazy?
Oh, I love it.
Take
Well,
your vitamin C.
yes, I also am going to be on virtual tour until like May 20th, I think, which is a long time, but there are lots of events coming up. They're on my website, KristyWoodsonHarvey.com. But I just want to thank everybody so much for being here tonight. We love being with y'all. This is so fun. It's a great way to spend our Wednesday nights. We're so appreciative of all your support, especially during this really unusual time to be launching books into the world. We miss you. We miss seeing your faces and signing your books for you in person. But we love the idea of still being able to connect with you through our local booksellers. And we will continue to be here to do that. So thank you for tuning in. You can always watch our replays if you can't be here live. And, don't forget, join us on our Friends in Fiction page, and everything we talked about tonight.
Oh, we're going to end with a puppy.
And we're ending with a puppy.
Mary Alice, every week you have to end with a different animal.
I was going to say, who knows what baby
Why not
animal
do-
will end with next week.
Dolphins, turtles, birds.
But this is a cutie pie. You got to admit, this one
Oh,
is
it's cute, baby.
Pretty cute.
All right. Well, thank y'all so much. Everybody have a great night, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week.
Congratulations.
Bye.
Thank
Happy
you.
lunch week, Kristy.
Thank you. Bye.